Well, hey there, sports fans. You've done up another fine edition of the Brew. Jersey Joe here, eye on the box over there from Vegas. We just came back for a big trip overseas to UK and Canada. For those who follow us on social media. And Joel, have you recovered from that big trip yet?
No. No. I haven't even... Yeah.
I don't know, me neither. But one thing that you and I do learn on our travels is, we like to experience different countries and cultures. We were in the UK, and we learned how passionate their sports fans are. We thought it'd be a great topic to ask you this question. Who is better fans, the UK or the US? Interesting comments you guys had on social media. Those of you watching right now, join us live or hit us up on Twitter, 504091, and tell us, better sports fans, US or UK? So, Joel, from what you saw during our travels, what do you think, UK or US?
I'm going to say the UK is the better average sports fan, but I'll say that US is the better overall sports fan. So I get you a little layered answer there.
That's interesting. I'm going to say, I think US is very passionate fans because we have more sports. But when your friend showed us overseas how, when opposing teams' fans get off a train there, and they basically want to beat the crap out of them, they're really, really intense, loyal soccer fans there. So, they follow soccer one sport, whereas I think US is more diversified between many different sports. But we generally don't get really bloody here in the US attending a sports event. Unless maybe you're going to LA or something.
Yeah, when it comes to those other sports you mentioned, it's more like we've spread out our loyalty a little much. So even if we have four major sports here, they have one that they really care about, which is football, which is American. It's just soccer, basically. So because they care mostly about that, it's a little bit different than here where we're kind of spread out all over the place.
At least here, fans don't require separate exits off of trains and security guards get to their game and stuff. I know they can get rowdy in the parking lot. I've been many Yankees, Red Sox games where I saw a Red Sox fan get all bloody in the stands, there was a fight, whatever. And even sometimes Yankees, Mets fans get like that too. And definitely Jets fans here had girls making them flash themselves going out of the rotunda and things leaving MetLife Stadium. But it's not where the team pulls in, they're actually throwing rocks at the buses and stuff. So yeah, I think that level, I'm going to actually think the UK maybe is just a little bit more passionate, but maybe replace the word passionate with violent.
Yeah, I mean, you have to keep in mind those people are sober. So for example, when Joe and I went to the London series out there, they didn't know what their alcohol policy was. They just knew people could drink inside the stadium, and it was so new to them that communications hadn't run through all the channels yet, and some stuff seeped through the cracks. For example, I tried to get in the gate. One guy said I could go in with my beer. One guy said I couldn't. They sat there and argued. Then the one guy who said I couldn't made me drink all of it or throw it away. Of course, I drank all of it really fast because my friends were through the gate, including Joe. But still, the point being, they don't really know how to react to fans with alcohol, meaning their fans are so passionate and they get into so many fights, even without gear and without alcohol, where they're throwing rocks and bricks and shit at each other, that I feel like they're more passionate, and they deserve credit for that.
I will say, outside the sports world, though, I found them very friendly in the UK, and I love, I really enjoy, when you buy or talk to them, oh, here you go, love. I like that, but man, you get, opposing soccer cities together, you're right. And one other thing I want to compliment them on, you're right, they didn't know about the beer policy, and we went to the London series, what he's referencing. They still serve beer past the seventh inning, whereas MLB, and every other American sport, we had to cut it off.
That's because they didn't know the they were doing.
It's also,
It's not a perk. That's an accident. That'll be corrected.
That is true, but also, we had a tendency, we would leave games here and wrap cars around telephone poles and stuff, too much little DUI, drinking and driving stuff. So that was part of it, too. But we have lots of your comments to hit on social media, so let's get to a bunch of them right now because you guys have lots to say. Because Luke Funk writes in and says, in the U.S., individual fans brawl. In the U.K., entire stadiums of fans riot, to prove our point. Matt Treat writes in and says, football soccer is king there, and they are very much vocal throughout the match. Jack Kenyon writes in and says, no, it's not just, it's very tribal. I think you can go to an MLS game and sit next to opposing fans without too much being said. Over here, opposing fans have to be separated, otherwise fans would almost certainly start. And Milsey writes in and says, football is life, whole community and identity we fight for, no franchises. Well, let's go to Milsey because he's actually the one who showed us around in the UK. He is right, it is a very community city thing, whereas in the US you can follow teams from other cities, but there in the UK, it's your hometown is who you root for.
Right, and he stressed that a lot to both Joe and I when we were there. So it's more of the English press thing kind of comes into play a little bit more than it does here. There's more pride for where you come from, especially if it's a smaller place.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good learning experience to see that way too. And I mean, maybe that's something we've lost here in the U.S., but also, we're so widespread out. And I think, I don't know, I mean, it's like you follow players here in the U.S., but like you said, over in the U.K., it's definitely more about teams and community. Let's get more of your comments right now. We've got a lot more to go through. H.R. Merrill writes in and says the difference between U.S. UK sports, shoulder pads and crash helmets. Well, that is interesting because, you know what? They don't actually really do wear a lot of pads in soccer. It's kind of much, you throw your whole physical body into it.
I'm not talking about soccer. He's comparing football and rugby, and he's trying to imply that rugby's tougher because they don't wear pads. And here's the thing about rugby, which is a sport that I've aired a lot of times, and I thought that too until I actually watched the shit. They don't contact each other from 50 yards away. They contact each other from like me to my dick. So there's no real impact when they hit each other head on. It's like 1 foot's worth of momentum. It's not 30 yards of it. There's a reason they don't have to have helmets, and they probably have a little bit less CTE than we do anyway. All our guys are shooting each other and shooting themselves in the chest when they turn 44 because they can't take it anymore. So there's a little bit of head trauma involved in that.
Interesting. J City Picks, he writes in with a difference. He says college sports. I think he is right. College sports, to me, I didn't notice that. I don't think that's a big thing in the UK.
I've never even heard of it over there. So that should tell you something.
Right. More of your comments right now is Harsh Voice writes in and says, okay, so here comes some long-winded answers. If we're talking about a technical difference between the sports in the UK and US, then let's talk about cricket versus baseball. Cricket came to the US first. It was played in the US until late in the 1800s, especially in Philly, and baseball sort of evolved out of that. Cricket is structured to help the baseman instead of the bowlers, the pitchers, through things like no foul territory, only 2 bases to run, no mound, and the bowler can't bend his elbow all the way, whereas baseball is obviously more pitcher-friendly for reasons you both know well. The atmosphere is also different. The UK doesn't play as much music during their events as US does, although it's starting to change in cricket. And obviously, as Yankee fans, you both know how fantastic a good American sports atmosphere can be, whether it's at a Yankees-Red Sox game or a major college football rivalry match.
Can we get less than a whole book for an answer?
I know, we're almost done. UK is a bit different.
Something you can summarize in a tweet.
The final part, he talks about how the UK is also different between the fan base is similar, and they do a lot of singing. Okay, he's got a couple of points. Let's get through there because it was a lot. Let's summarize that back for those of you sports fans that don't want to read the whole thing. So, okay, he says we do have a lot more music in our games here in the US, whereas in the UK, they chant a lot more.
Yeah, I feel like you did a good job summarizing all that bullshit. But that's kind of just the culture that they grow up with. I mean, if we had one sport that played 1 day a week, then it would probably be a little bit more energy put into that one performance. But I feel like as the sport, like depending on what sport you're talking about, like football, there's more energy on game days because they only have 16 main games, whereas baseball is 162. So if you miss one today, you catch one tomorrow.
Yeah, Harsh Voice, I mean, he had a long-winded message there, but he had a lot of interesting points, too, so I'm thanking him for that. But, it definitely does show a bunch of the differences. But running short on time, let's get the poll right now because we put this out on social media. We asked you which country has more passionate sports fans, and this was one of our closest polls ever because 53% of you said the United States, whereas 47% said the UK. Whew, you know what? I mean, it was one thing, like I said, that, Joel, you and I have learned is seeing the differences between the two. But that, I mean, it's just like we said before, each has both their pluses and minuses depending on which sport you're talking about.
Yeah, that's definitely correct. There's no real definitive answer to this, too. This is a subjective question.
It almost, I think the poll depended on like where our friends were located and, who our viewers were located at when they clicked on that. But, lots to get through here. So, send us your opinions, Jersey 50 INX 4091 on social media and click that like and subscribe button down below. So much more going on my Jersey 50 YouTube channel. 4 great web shows coming at you. And announcing my newest show, Caption This and Spin to Win, a brand new game show where you can win an Amazon gift card by captioning funny pictures. Series premiere of that Monday, a week-long sneak peek starting Monday, August 26th. That joins the big party here on the web show. Hope you can enjoy that as much as Joel and I hang out with you here. Each and every week you'll find us on the big web channel as well. Very short on time. Judge Joe here, Eye on the Box, saying thanks for watching. We'll see you next time, I hope.